And we had a great guest, Katie Kiefer, and joining us in about 2 seconds from now, Barbara Frieseman. She's going to talk about predictive programming. Could Batman have predicted or pushed the Ebola virus? And let's get into that right now. You got Barbara. How you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Oh, great. Did I pronounce your last name right? Frieseman?
Hello, can you hear?
Is it Frieseman?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
no,
great.
it's Frieseman. You had it right.
Frieseman,
you had it right.
Okay.
Yeah. This is okay. This is kind of an interesting story. Predictive programming basically is where the elites or the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, lets us know in media, books, games, movies. They kind of let us know in advance what's going on, and we call it predictive programming because when these things start to unfold in real life, well, we kind of accept them because we're familiar with it. We've heard it before, and so we accept it as being normal. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Well, in any case, getting back, my attention has been drawn to the Batman comics, and let me tell you the story. I have a friend and we were chatting one day, and he knows some people, and he told me, he says, the Illuminati has nicknamed the Antichrist Superman. And so, okay, and so I always have a computer in my lap, and so I'm typing into the search bar, Superman. Well, of course, what comes up is a Wikipedia article on the comic book Superman. So I look at it, and I have a tendency to really look at things, okay? And so what I noticed was that it was put out by DC Comics, and that stands for Detective Comics. DC Comics has been out for a very long time, since the late 30s. And so that's where the Superman character came from. And this article had a lot of internal links. And I noticed that DC Comics, the address of it was 666 Rockefeller Drive, New York City. Well, that got my attention, okay? And so I started really looking and clicking on some of these links. And some of the links, as you know, Wikipedia is very fluid. Anybody that knows how to do it can edit Wikipedia. They can make changes. The authors can go in and make changes. So I started clicking on these links, and some of them, they didn't really make sense. But I started to see a pattern. They were taking me to other superheroes, and I would go and look up those superheroes. Well, finally I decided, this is all connected. And the storylines that they were telling were either everything that the Illuminati is doing right now or has done. And they were all connected. The superhero comics, the characters, by and large, most of them are aliens. Somebody from another planet, and they've come to Earth to help us. Okay, so, and they were, of course, they have the superpowers. A lot of the comics had very sinister themes, like the trauma-based mind control, the high-tech weaponry. That was there. The underground bunkers. I mean, so many things that were just, and things that they have done. The cyborgs, the mixing of DNA where you have I always pronounce it wrong, a chimera, which is half human, half animal. And it was all in there. And so I went back to my friend and I said, you know what? I think the Illuminati has been planning, recording, tweaking their plans, and making progress notes in these comic books. And, he thought about it. I showed him what I meant, and he said, well, I think you're right. But he didn't really want to just take that. He went and asked somebody. And he came back and he said, you know what, I can't believe that the Illuminati would put their plans in comic books, but you're 100% correct. And so, okay, that's not only the predictive programming, but also they're kind of letting us know what they've done, what they might do, that type of thing. If it doesn't work, they may change it and make arrangements. Well, getting back to what I would do is then one day I would type in a word, something that I'm interested in. For example, Project Bluebeam. And then I would type the word comic. And then sure enough, there seems to be a comic book about all these things. It was there, and it was pretty much what I expected. So, not too long ago, I typed in Ebola comic. And I was surprised that, yes, it came right up. And it was a Batman comic series. The name of the first comic was Shadow of the Bat. The name of the series, or the story arc, was Contagion. And in the story arc, there's a total of 96 editions. Well, I read on, and it described Ebola exactly. In this comic book, it was a bioweapon, a virus that had been developed by our military in Middle or South America. It depends on what article you're reading. Middle America, basically. And it was a bioweapon that was developed by a cult called the Cult of Dumas that is in Africa. The purpose of the bioweapon was to cleanse the earth of sin. The main character is a Ra's al Ghul or something like that. And in his character, he wanted to simplify the earth, and the way he wanted to do that was by eliminating much of the population. Now, does that sound familiar? Okay, in the comic book, the first one, Shadow of the Bat, this virus was sent from the Society of St. Dumas, or the cult, over to Gotham City, which would represent any large American city, New York, whatever, Dallas, whatever. And they sent a carrier that was infected by plane from Africa. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, yeah. So it sounds exactly like what's going on now.
Yes, that really struck me. It really is. This came out in 1996. It's been under our noses for 18 years. And they call the virus Ebola. Gulf A is a strain of the virus. That is Ebola. The Ebola virus is it's described in the comic book as being very rapidly mutating, and because of that, science can't keep up with it. To study it, to make cures and things like that. It's all stated right in there. It's amazing, Dan. So it's like I said, what it strikes me and where I'm going with this is it appears that this has been a planned thing.
Well, you said it was
something that's been in the works
right?
for a very long time.
96 is when it came out?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did the research we were talking earlier before the show. The 6 means man or evils of Satan, and 9 means divine completion, and completeness, I'm sorry, which 96 means divine completeness of evils of Satan.
Well, there you go. And there are 96 issues, okay? It's just amazing. And there's things that I really haven't rooted out yet. There's probably more. And it just takes some smart people to do some analysis and come up, some brainstorming and come up with things. What I am hoping is if we can understand and if we can predict what's coming in the future by what they've written in the past, maybe we can stop some of this. But I really think the main message of this program is, people, this is a planned event. This has been in the works a long time. This is not just an accident, and it is a bioweapon. as we know. They've got a patent on it. So there you go. And that's the comic book
brag
story.
that they have the patent and copyright of the Ebola virus, and that right there should tell people, hey, we're the ones that created it. We genetically engineered this thing in a lab for a bioweapon.
Well, that's exactly how it's described in the comic book. And it was, as a matter of fact, it was a military base, and they found somebody that was in quarantine. He happened to be the scientist that had something to do with developing it. It was a general in the Army, okay? So it was a military base. This is a bioweapon, and it was the United States military. So there you go. I mean, it's all to... It's exactly what's happening. But they planned this years ago, and they stuck it under our nose 18 years ago. It's probably been in the works for much longer than that. The evil of these people it's just amazing. Normal people do not think like this. But apparently they do. And it's really, it's all there. If people wanted to just sort of look at the superhero comic books, and then, these comic books give rise to other media. Now we have movies and books, and we have games. And something that's interesting, and I don't know if people are going to accept this, but I believe this. I believe that demonic activity rides a lot on electrical wires, electrical
currents.
That type of thing. For some kind of reason, it really does. And think about the games. Think about the young kids that get addicted to these games, and they're playing them at very high speeds. Are they in some kind of way energizing this demonic energy and internalizing it? Are they becoming demonized themselves? That is my opinion that is what's happening.
I believe that because
everybody
that's a direct
will have to
passage interaction with your brain. I mean, when you're sitting there for hours, pierced into the TV, between the pixelations on the screen and the program, the flash and all that, I think it's a direct channel into your pineal gland, you know what I mean, a demonic entity. And, yeah, I mean, look at these mass shooters. When you come to find out, they were addicted to Grand Theft Auto or which other game, the military game? Call of Duty. These games you run around shooting people and killing people, and along with the psychotropic drugs as well. So, I mean, yeah, there's definitely a direct connection. So I'm not telling people out there because you play these games it means you're evil. No, we're not saying that at all. We're saying it's a possibility.
No.
Yeah, it's a possibility, that you can become demonically infected if you're going down the wrong path.
It's like when you go to a karate movie. You go to watch an hour and a half. When you leave that movie, what are you doing? I'm doing karate. I'm throwing punches, doing kicks. And that's only an hour and a half. So imagine these kids play all day long. I mean, it doesn't mean every single kid's going to go out and shoot stuff. But if what you put into your mind, what you put into your head, what you put into your brain is what you put into your body, and it could come out if you let it, if you allow it to.
Well, look at Fast and Furious. Everybody wants to be race car drivers now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were saying, Barbara, it's like, predictive programming. And it's like they openly rub it in your faces, and at the same time they're programming you to accept this way and everything else. Look at the cartoons, what they're doing to the kids, make the police state seem okay. The implantable chips, okay. Triangles, all seeing eyes. Right on the Disney Channel on the Cartoon Network, openly bright. They show little clips. Like it's
Nickelodeon.
Half a second says Illuminati on it, and like in between commercials. These Disney, like this one Disney cartoon, Mickey Mouse. He gets stuck in traffic, so he starts riding on his motorbike on top of the rooftops, and he comes off of this one church and it shows the top of the church. It shows the back angle, and I paused it, and I took a screenshot of it. It shows a bunch of gargoyles and giving the Hail Satan, I love you Satan signs, all the Illuminati symbolism within it, and that's all through Disney movies, all seeing eyes, pyramids and all that. So, and it's making the kids susceptible to this new age.
Well, something else that I want to point out as well, the main villain of this, actually the Ebola is then picked up again in a sequel series called Legend. And the villain that does it, and he's a villain that runs through an awful lot of the comic books. They're all kind of connected loosely anyway. Anyway, his name is Ra's al Ghul. It's Rasalghul. Now, the picture that it shows of him, it looks like the character in the Denver murals. Remember the stormtrooper that has that sword that's kind of curved? I don't know what the name of it is. I should, but I don't. Anyway, it's the exact same sword. They're both dressed in Islamic green. And I thought, wow. I mean, they're all, it's pointing back and forth to each other. This does look like the character in the Denver mural, and they are very sinister. The only difference is that the character in the mural had a gas mask on. But think about the Ebola. That's exactly what you need. That's pointing to the gas mask. So there's more predictive programming. Those murals have been up for how many years? And everybody's always thought, they're really creepy. But there you go. More predictive programming. They really do like to rub it in our face, and they think we're so stupid that nobody's going to catch on.
Barbara, it's like, how they had the James Holmes, the Batman shooter?
Yeah.
Did you know that there was a Batman comic book that the bad guy back in that comic book shot up a movie theater?
I wouldn't doubt it. Yep. I wouldn't doubt it. It's almost amazing. And more predictive programming, something else that I found out, and don't even ask me what I was looking for. But Hunger Games, the book's Hunger Games. Now, Alex Jones has talked about Hunger Games as being predictive programming of the world that they would like to create, with serfdom and all the rest. Okay, the author of Hunger Games is Suzanne Collins, and she just so happens to live in Sandy Hook. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that actually is very
Think about that for a minute.
And, the assistant director or producer of the Hunger Games, his son was the one that went on the Santa Barbara shooting spree. Did you know that?
Yes, and the other thing, Suzanne Collins is one of the Illuminati names. One of the 13 is Collins. Now, I don't know if she's the same one. I suspect maybe that she's in that family, but I don't know. I can't prove that. But she does live in Sandy Hook. She did write a series of predictive programming, and I just thought that was real interesting, because Sandy Hook is a tiny burg. It's just a little village within the Newtown. It's like a suburb or something of Newtown.
Yeah.
So
me and Kevin was there with Wolfgang Halbig. We went down to Sandy Hook when he came up to do a report on.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a small little town, like you said. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like this predictive programming, people laugh, but I mean, when you think about it, when you look at it, you're like, oh wow, they're right. And how much predictive programming for 9/11 alone? Just 9/11. How much movies and cartoons and I mean, it's just crazy.
And think about 9/11. How many times did you watch those planes hit the towers? They played it that day. They played it over and over and over and over again. That is trauma-based mind control.
Yep.
They wanted the American people so traumatized that we would do anything that they wanted to do. We let them do everything. And look at the mess we have now. We've lost all of our freedoms. They took away all of our freedoms. They went on all these illegitimate wars, blowing up babies and everybody else. I mean, it has only gotten worse.
And all
those
pictures of that plane flying into the Trade Center, too, they never showed one picture or one video of the plane flying into the Pentagon.
You know what? I don't know what the story is on that one. There's so many spins on that. But you're right. And where was the debris? I mean, I would have thought there would have been debris all over the yard, but hey. But no, they are so arrogant. And the thing is, people don't like to believe that they can be mind controlled. It insults our intelligence, okay? And And so we think, oh, well, I'm above that. I can never be hypnotized. Haven't you heard that? They can't hypnotize me.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what. Let's go back to the flicker rate on the television. That puts you into an altered state of consciousness. Okay, now you're a little bit out of it. And now they're inserting ideas, whatever's coming over the screen, and that's mind control.
Sure is.
And people don't want to believe that it is, that the television is a mind control device. And it's been used against us for years, but people don't want to believe it because they think they're smarter than that.
I always laugh.
Well, they really shouldn't.
When they say, "Oh, commercials," there's not a big, it's not a big deal. It's just a commercial. But then, how come they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on these commercials? If they weren't so important,
because it works.
Spend that money.
It's because it works. I have never seen a commercial for M&Ms that I didn't run to the kitchen to go find some.
Yeah.
It just works. I don't care if it's M&Ms or cars or whatever.
I'm sure there's a couple
they
times
do it
Dan
because
was
it works.
TV and he saw a food commercial and he wanted, because I know it's happened to me.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Well, we all have, but we want to believe we're too smart for this. The type of person that they look for as an MK Ultra subject is really, that person has a higher IQ than average. They're not looking for somebody with the IQ of room temperature. They're looking for the smart one. I don't understand exactly why that is, but that's the type of person that they're looking for, somebody that's really quite bright. So
right.
I can't explain it all. I don't know all about that.
Well, they do that in the casinos.
But think about the MK.
Video slots. They had just this flicker rate to keep you tuned in, and in the music they play, it's always some uplifting music that makes you feel like spend. You just want to go out and spend, and plus the subliminal that's inside that music, inside those machines, and of course you got to blow every cent you have. I mean, that's just another example right there of mind control.
Yeah, and people need to wake up a little bit and stop being so prideful. Yes, it can happen to you, and if you accept that fact, then maybe you can overcome it. But if you're going to just wallow in your pride, you're kind of a victim there. You're an easy mark. I can't explain all of it, but I do know that, okay, with, say, MK Ultra or Monarch programming, what they do with trauma-based programming is they induce a heightened state of pain or fear. Fear is a very good motivator, so they get you in a heightened state of fear, let's say fear. And then they offer you a product or a book that will fix that fear or promises to fix that. And so you make an impulse buy. Here comes the book in the mail, and you go, why did I order that? It's because that is mind control. They cared, and they introduced an idea that they wanted you to accept. And in this case, it was buy my book. You see how evil they are? They really are. And we've come to accept it because they've been doing it to us for so long. With Bernays and the Illuminati are very, very smart. Don't underestimate them. And they're light years ahead of us. They really are. And so they know about human nature. They've studied it. They know more about the Bible than you'll ever know, and they follow it. They really do follow it. I told you before that I had been curious about Project Bluebeam. Well, it's kind of an Illuminati joke, I guess. But this is the plan. I don't know if they'll do it, but this is the plan. With their technology, they can cast a large hologram of Jesus Christ or the Islamic person, whatever Imad or whatever. They can cast this hologram. And then with voice-to-skull technology, every person can hear, say, Jesus Christ in their own language, okay? Because they have the technology to do that. And so what they plan to do is kind of like fake a rapture to discourage Christians, or maybe they're going to aim it at the New Agers, and it'll be an alien invasion. Most of what we see and call UFOs, they're either our own technology or they're holograms. This is a big joke to them. They enjoy fooling with us. They enjoy this. And, you know, everybody's into, the aliens, and, there's shit. No. Blue green men, no. If they're around, that's a demon. But a lot of what we're looking at is holograms and so on and so forth. John Lear, the son of Lear Jets, that's what he thinks happened at 9/11. He has an interesting spin that you can go watch it on YouTube. But he feels that the planes were holograms.
Well, yeah, I seen one video. It looked like the wing was, what's that called? Damn, I can't remember. Well, anyway, it looked like the wing disappeared for a minute. The glitch in the system there.
Well, exactly. It's sort of like that green screen that, who was it that lost their nose when they turned sideways? Anderson Cooper?
Anderson Cooper, yeah. He was
right,
Sandy Hook.
People... Right. The thing is, liars lie. We should not be surprised when liars lie. And Dan, they haven't told us the truth about anything for years and years. So why are we shocked now? It's a little scary if you're just now tuning in. But no. That's what they do, and they really have fun with this. They enjoy this. So
oh, yeah, right.
Anyway, that's the comic book thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the comic book.
So,
series.
do you have any other question?
Well, yeah, the comic book series.
Well, anyway,
with the Batman and all that. I mean, like everything that's going on now, it's in those comic books, and how coincidental. And I don't think it's coincidental. I think it's 100% predictive programming.
Well, the bat is a demonic type of figure. The bat itself, in nature, in the Bible, it's an unclean creature. Okay, so anyway, the whole idea of Batman is kind of demonic anyway. Yeah. But this is a description from the 1996 comic book Shadow of the Bat. This is a description of Ebola. A rod-like, swift-acting family of viruses, original habitat, the Central America rainforest. They spread as mankind encroached on the virgin territory. Several mutate so fast it is almost impossible to find a cure. They're almost always fatal. Ebola Honduras, which dissolves the victim's flesh from within. It talks about the bleeding from the eyes, and it's very, very close, if not exactly right on. And maybe not totally, but it's so close you can't ignore it. But anyway, it's called Contagion. That's the series, and the first volume is Shadow of the Bat, that was put out in 1996, and there's about 12 in this story arc. But apparently I'm learning a little bit about these comics. I haven't been into this, but it seems like they all kind of intertwine, and cross over. The themes will cross over into like Green Lantern, and you know what I'm saying? They all kind of connect loosely. And anyway, it was just a very, very interesting discovery. And so if you really want to know what they're doing, you have a question, type in the word, and put comic behind it, and see what pops up. Most of the time, a Wikipedia article will pop up. Comic Vine will come up, too. That's another one that will give you a pretty good description of what is going on. And that's the method, and it's all there. It really is. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed. The underground bunkers. Getting back to the Shadow of the Bat, the elite of Gotham City, they go and hide out in Babylon Towers. Okay, that's not an underground bunker, but it's a self-contained high-rise that has their own food, their own filtered air, and their own filtered water. And so the elite they knew this was coming, and so they were going to go hide out and lock everybody else out and just let the city die off, and they'll be safe in there. Well, that backfired, and I'll let you look at the rest of the story. But the plan was, well, we're going to dismiss all of the servants except for just the very few that we need, because we don't want to share our food and water with them. Doesn't that sound familiar? Okay? We hear that the Illuminati wants to do the great culling because you and I are using up their resources, their water, their oil, their whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
And that's what Agenda 21 is.
Yeah, they're storing organic seeds in the Paulo caps. Yeah, Agenda 21 is a massive, like today's eugenics, I call it. It's a massive program for depopulation.
Yeah, it is.
And, to push a New World Order agenda. Squeeze us all into metropolitan areas. You can't own homes on the coastal lines or nothing, no forest, no nothing. You have to be squeezed into a metropolitan area.
Mm-hmm. They are also following the Bible very closely.
Yep.
So the plagues of Revelation 6, this is what's going on, and I do believe that there's more to come, but Ebola is one of them. And so it just amazes me with some of the announcements of the last few days where Obama made another executive decision to have medical SWAT teams. That means if you have a sniffle and you don't want to go into this quarantine, that they're going to come get you and put you in the quarantine with people that might actually have Ebola. We're going into the cold and flu season now, okay? So this is, and Alex Jones explained this, this is very sinister. Round us all up and lock us in a cage with somebody that really is sick, and all we had was a sniffle. How are you going to tell? Don't you dare cough in public. I mean, it's craziness. And I was thinking about it today, and I thought, what a perfect way to institute martial law. People are so panicked by this Ebola thing, they'll beg for it. Do anything.
Oh, yeah. I went and made a video. The very second of a peep of the Ebola virus in West Africa, long before, even people started talking about it, the very peep of it, I knew exactly where they were going because, like yourself, I follow the Illuminati. I'm an historian on that, and I got friends in the Illuminati. I went and made a video right away. So listen, they're going to use this to push martial law and force inoculations on the public. And this goes for a diabolical agenda beyond politics and all that. You know as well as I do what the vaccines are really for. And they're going to use this crisis to push martial law and force inoculations. And you're 100% correct when you say that, because we called this. I mean, you knew about this ahead of time. I knew about it. And I went on record to say this was going to happen. Now, look, Obama's pushing executive order on that. Several states already set up executive orders in case of an outbreak. Connecticut right now is under the state of emergency, which is martial law. Same thing. And all the pawns are in place right now. And you're right. And I tell people all the time, if you got to snivel your kids, keep them out of school. Tell the school that you had some other family business to take of. Do not tell your school that your kids are sick, because they're going to go all out there using propaganda or fear-mongering propaganda to say everybody could be infected, especially right now. I mean, Barbara's right. If you get a snivel, keep your mouth shut, stay home, do not let anybody know you got a snivel. And there's a lot of cures for Ebola. I mean, with the high doses of vitamin C, the shiitake mushroom, a lot of different, InfoWars had a huge article on that too, with the different cures that you could avoid the Ebola. Was, again, high doses of vitamin C is for one, but back to the propaganda. I mean, Bobby, you're 100% right on that, what they're going to do.
Well, it's very diabolical. And what I recommend to people is, now I'm a born-again Christian, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Your rifle and your bullets that you think that you have are going to look like a pea shooter when they come with their weaponry. They have weaponry that looks like magic. You need the Lord. You need a personal relationship with Jesus Christ so that you can call on that power, because that's going to be the only thing that saves you. It really is. And I encourage you. I'm not saying this to scare you, but if you were on the fence, get off the fence. God really does like you. Okay? And, well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. You know, we need God. I don't know. We're just not as prepared as they are. They've been at this for a very long time. Their weaponry is way advanced. I'm telling you, they have weaponry that looks like magic to us. We don't understand it at all. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. And I encourage people to, really get close to the Lord. Spend time with Him. Pray. Talk to Him. You'll learn to hear His voice that way. And He'll talk back. He likes you. It's more than I can say for the government.
Yeah, at least He watches over you for your safety. The government don't watch over you for your safety. They watch over you because they want your freedoms. If you want to put it that way.
Well, and then there's a peace that comes with it. What are they really going to do to you, Dan? Send you to heaven faster? That's not much of a threat when you really break it down.
Oh, yeah, that's what I say. Aren't you afraid of getting killed? Me exposing the FBI in Boston there, the stuff I do. Aren't you afraid of them coming after you? Let them. They'll just be doing me a favor. Like, what could you possibly do to me? Kill me? You'd just be sending me home.
Well, exactly. And I get a lot of flack because I live in Dearborn, Michigan. Oh, you should be so afraid. Well, to be honest with you, I've never had a bit of problem. But, I finally told somebody, I said, well, hey, if I get my head chopped off, I get a white robe. That's not a bad deal. I've got a XX on order, so I'm not pinched through all eternity. This is not a bad deal. God likes you. And he'll give you peace. Talk to Him. He'll talk back.
Exactly. And, that's what the elite... And the thing is, people, like I tell people all the time, regardless, because we have many different subtle levels, and the low levels of, the occult and whatnot, they believe in different things, but ultimately, the Illuminati, the top of the branch, or top of the pyramid, per se, they believe in God. They believe in Jesus, the Son of God, but they won't tell the lower levels that. But they know for their king, their Antichrist to come, Bible prophecy has to come true first, but they'll never tell the low levels out. They'll tell the low levels that the Bible's not real, that we made it, all this disinformation. But the Illuminati, the elite of this world, they believe Lucifer is God. They believe that Lucifer's they believe in the Bible 99%, but the point, they believe Lucifer is going to defeat God at the Battle of Armageddon, which is a total delusion. It's not even going to be a fight. It's just going to be
But Dan, that is what they think. Yep. And they're building their army now. Now, we hear a lot about Nephilim, and there are some Nephilim. Now, Nephilim, for those that don't know, that would be a hybrid, half-human, half-fallen being, half-fallen angel. And in the Bible, the Nephilim were the giants. Goliath was a Nephilim. Anyway, so, yes, there are some Nephilim, but we need to be aware of their technology. Dan, they've moved into robotics and microwaves, and they're very, very sophisticated. Their robots, well, you can't really tell that they're not a human.
Oh,
and people don't want to believe that.
Nanotechnology.
People don't want to believe that.
Yep. And they're using transhumanism
they are very
merge humans and robots.
Well, right now they're busy building their army, and they really believe that we're going to have this big war, and we're going to triumph over Christ and His army. They really believe that, and so if they believe that, shouldn't we take them seriously? That's what they think. You don't have to believe in numerology, but understand they believe it and they act on it. So, pay attention. You don't have to believe in witchcraft. But I'm here to tell you, they believe it, and they're doing it. And they get up at 3 a.m. to do this wonderful thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing with Christians now. It's like, you believe in God, right? Yeah, of course I believe in God. There's the other side. You can't forget that as much as you go to church and you feel so good when you get out of church, oh, I feel so great. There's the other side. They feel great when they get out of their, whatever they do, sacrifices, rituals. They feel great. When they see blood and they know that people are dying on their behalf, because of things that they're doing or things that they did. They feel as much as empowered and powerful that you do with God. They feel even more, probably 10 times, 100 times what we feel with our God, because look they're winning right now with millions of dollars and they're in all the top positions. But, we know, Barbara knows, Dan knows, we know, guys, what's the real truth.
Well, you know what? Christians need to stop sleeping at the switch.
Yeah.
A lot of what's going on in the world is because Jesus Christ won the authority back from Satan. He delegated it to us, and he left us here to be the policemen of the world. Well, I don't know. What's happening? Are we doing it? Are we letting 55 bees be aborted without much of a squawk? We're sleeping at the switch, people. Let's wake up. And don't be counting on some flyaway doctrine that you're not going to go through anything. You can believe that if you want, but prepare for the worst, okay, in case you have to stay here and go through a few things. People need to get real. This is real. A Satanist is really very easy to communicate with. They're actually very truthful. They just believe this thing. But you know what? You don't have to argue with a Satanist about supernatural things. Why? They operate in them now. They're not thrown by the miraculous. Well, they do it all the time.
Yep.
Okay? So why are we Christians so shocked that God might do something for you? Come on, get over it. If you'd spend some time with the Lord and start operating in it, you start praying, pray about everything. Where are my keys? Where did I put this? I've got a sniffle. You pray about, talk to the Lord. And it's like a muscle. It gets stronger and stronger. But you're not going to learn to hear his voice if you're up on YouTube all day. If you're going to spend a little time with him. Talk to him about everything. Make it a constant chatter. And if people think you're nuts, so what? So what?
Hey, they think I'm nuts already. So
I used to work.
Wouldn't matter much anyway.
Yeah, I worked my career almost 40 years in the intensive care unit in major city hospitals. And let me tell you, I was pretty open about my Christianity, and to my face, I was called all kinds of things. But let me tell you what: in the middle of the night, people would find their way to my desk, and we would talk, and we would pray about things. And people are hungry. But one really neat story is I was sitting there one day, and the monitors were behind my chair, and the doctors were standing back there looking at a particular monitor, and they said, "There's a dying heart. That man, there's nothing we can do for him." This was probably about 22 or 3 years ago, okay? And so they decided, we're going to send him home. And we're going to send him home to die. So that was the plan, and he went home to die. But after the office cleared, I went back there and I looked at that monitor, and I thought, you know what? And I just put my hands on it, and I didn't go through any big deal. I just sort of prayed for the man, and I don't know what I prayed. I don't remember. It was too far back. Okay, so the guy goes home to die. Several weeks later, now this is a big hospital, and I never went down to the lobby because I had no reason to, and it wasn't my work area. But that day, I did. And so it's probably a block and a half away from the unit. It's a big hospital. And so I'm down there doing whatever, and here comes this guy's wife running across the lobby toward me. And by the time she got to me, she was shouting. She said, "They told me he was going to die. He's still living, and he's fine. Can you explain this to me?" And you know what? All I could think to say is, I think God had a different idea. That's a true story. Now, nobody else saw it, and I don't expect anybody really to believe that. But, God made sure that I found out about it. Why? Because I'm special? No, because He is, and He wanted me to know that prayer works. And so, you build on it. You have that experience, you have another experience, and after a while, you have confidence. All right? But it's like a muscle. And I'm not special. I don't do a thing. All I did was open my mouth. And that's all He expects of you. Open your mouth. Pray about everything. Talk to Him. Develop that relationship. Anyway, end of preaching. I'm going to stop now.
Well, that's what it is. It's I tell people all the time, because people say, why you bash religions all the time? Because, God's not a religion. God's a relationship. Exactly what you were saying, that's what God's supposed to be. God, God doesn't require you to attend a building or establishment or a religion. You have to be at church. Well, no, you don't. It's a one-on-one relationship between you and God, and nobody else has to know about it. That's what the church is. The church is we the people, not a building, establishment, or a religion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you something else, and this one I won't budge on. There is no other name that salvation is found in. It is Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
It is.
Jesus. It has to be Jesus. We're not, this New Age thing where everybody and no. I'm not going to budge on that point.
Well,
you have to accept Jesus Christ into your life. It's not New Age at all. It's the same old lie. It's the same exact lie that Satan told Eve. Oh, you'll be like God. Yep. Go read it. He hasn't changed his MO a bit. So
that's why when I talk about New Age, I explain it's not really new. It's just it's something that's been around for thousands of years, whatever. But yeah, it's a big lie. It's the same old lie.
Yeah. Right. So do you have any other questions?
Oh, no, not really. Pretty much everything you say is the studies I've done too, it's right on target. You're right, and especially about the, everything about God and the Illuminati, and especially this mind control with the predictive programming. And remember the Family Guy episode, even though I think it was CNN, whoever, MSNBC, tried to say they went talking about, they pulled the episode of the Family Guy with the Boston bombing, but it wasn't the same sequence. Right at the end, they had the two bombs went off with the cell phone, and it's just like, and it was a death at the Boston bombing. His Family Guy's done that. What was that guy that died? The actor that died recently committed suicide.
Robin Williams.
He committed suicide on Family Guy too. You know what I mean? Like this year.
He didn't commit suicide. For the Robin Williams episode it's Peter Griffin, the father of the family on Family Guy. He is contemplating suicide, and he puts up a gun to his head with Robin Williams as the gun. And you know how Robin Williams supposedly killed himself by hanging himself in a door jamb, closing it on the door or whatever. And in that same episode, Peter runs out of the house and the door is Robin Williams. And then the other one there is they killed off Brian Griffin, which is the dog on Family Guy. And just, like a week or two before or after, I don't remember which one came first, but they killed off the Fast and Furious actor there. What's his name again? Paul Walker, whose name was Brian on Fast and Furious. And then the other link there was the Boston bombing, where Peter Griffin runs over people running in the Boston Marathon, and then also, like you said, the telephone call with the two bombs going off in the same episode. So you got 3 different Family Guy episodes for sure, with links to real life events that, call it coincidence or not. I don't call it a coincidence, but not only that, but also
I don't think Robin Williams. I don't think he killed himself
on one of the planes.
No, me either.
He was the creator of Family Guy. He was supposed to be on one of the planes that morning, but he didn't board the plane that he was supposed to be on, flight 815 or whatever. Incredibly enough, he did not go. And he had 2 separate excuses too that he didn't go. believe
Well, I mean, it was Mayor Willie Brown of San Francisco was told not to fly that morning.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot of, for that 9/11, whatever. But yeah, you've seen this predictive programming, mocking what's going to happen. They had movies of, it was that black guy, it was a famous actor, I forgot his name anyway, but anyway, it was a movie that he's in, like in the 90s. I forgot the name, but that they were talking about hijacked planes flying into the Twin Towers, specifying everything. I mean, and it's just tons of, it's just not 9/11, it's just tons of things that happened that was already on a cartoon or a movie. And that's what exactly.
You know what they do? They overwhelm us with minutia. We are so distracted that if we were paying attention a little bit, I believe that actually God directed me to this, because I never would have come up with it. I'm old. I'm not into comics. This is not it's just not me. But that is what happened. That's a true story. And it's just been amazing that, I don't think it was a coincidence. I think that I was guided to that. And it just, well, you can believe what you want to believe. That's what I think. But these people, they really do seem to delight in telling us all. I don't know if they really have to. Now you hear that it's their morality or something that they have to let us know. I don't know if that's true or not, but it certainly seems to be. It seems to be what they're doing. So, I'm not telling you to go just do nothing but read comics. But if you have a question, just very simply write the word in your search bar and comic behind it and see what comes up.
Absolutely. And now, do you want to promote any websites you have for people to contact you?
Oh, no. No. Hey, you know what? I don't have a book. I don't have a website. I don't have a radio show. So they really can't hurt me. I have no money. So what can they do? I can just get in with you, use your electricity, and shoot my mouth off. That's a better deal, don't you think?
That's awesome. And I want to have you back again too. Because I know there's a lot more information you have about other things such as Extortion 17, gets you and Michael Strange on and all that. We're going to talk about that as well. And there's so much stuff out there. And Barbara's very weak. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Barbara.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What did you say?
No, I was saying, go ahead, finish.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for that. You know what it is, Dan, is I know a little bit about a lot of things and not enough to do any good about anything. But I can usually hold my own of the conversation. But these things are fascinating. But don't get, overly entrenched in this. First of all, it's evil. You don't want to get overly saturated. And besides, you don't want to take any time away from talking to the Lord, because you got to learn to hear His voice, right?
That's it.
And you're not going to do that any other way but by spending some time.
That's why I tell people, without that spiritual anchor of God, if you start looking to the abyss, you'll become part of the abyss. Unless you have God, you will become part of the abyss.
Exactly.
Ain't that the truth?
And I want to thank you for coming on, Barbara.
And let me tell you...
If you want to finish up real quick.
Okay, well, thank you for having...
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to finish up, we got 2 minutes left.
Okay. Well, one last thing I'd like to say is that the enemy feeds on our fear. Don't go there. You're helping the other side.
That's exactly it.
Don't give them that.
I always tell them,
you be strong in the Lord.
God, it's of the devil.
Yeah, and don't be afraid of the stuff, folks. Like she's saying, don't be afraid of it, because God's in control. Like people say, they want to do this by 2015, or that new stupid stone with the 2014 on it, the guy stone. It doesn't matter. It's what God's timing. It's not what they say, because if it was up to them, they would have had the New World Order 6,000 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, it's on God's timing, not ours. You know what I mean? And that's what people need to keep courage about. And Jesus says, be of good cheer.
If Satan were that... If Satan were that powerful, it would be a done deal by now. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So obviously he isn't. Prayer changes things.
Yep.
Pray about everything. I like to pray out loud, and let me tell you why. And don't make a doctrine out of this, but this is what I do, because God spoke the world into existence. So I like to pray out loud. It's something about the spoken word. Now, like I said, don't make a doctrine out of that. That's just what I do. You do what you do. But the most important thing is you get that personal relationship going. You talk to the Lord about everything. Get to know Him. He likes you.
Well,
and I'll leave that as my final word.
If you want to say a quick prayer, we'll definitely welcome that. We need it.
Oh, sure, okay. Father, in the name of Jesus, I bring you this audience, and I ask that you bless them. I ask that you send your Holy Spirit and fill us with the Holy Spirit. Anoint us for ministry. Give us your strength. Give us courage. And give us your wisdom so that we know the next step. And give us your peace so that we're not making mistakes. And Lord, speak a little louder. Some of us are hard of hearing. And I thank you that you do like us. And I thank you that we can ask what we will and you will do it because Jesus paid the price. And we thank you for that in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.